Good evening. My name is Steve Teach, and I'm your Merced County Superintendent of Schools, and I want to welcome you to this year's end of the year ceremony for those of you that have participated in our credentialing programs here at Merced County Office of Education. You know better than I, this year has been the most challenging year to face if you're a classroom teacher. You all took on the profession in a year that's like none other in my 41-year career, and I congratulate you on your persistence and perseverance as we all worked through a year like none other. Thank you for your work, your time, and your devotion to the profession. I want to say congratulations as you complete your credentialing programs and move into the next stage of your career. I'd like to take a few moments to recognize all of you in the various programs that we run here at MCOE. Both in regular ed credentials and special ed credentials, you have been in a program during this past year that has presented new and different challenges than we've ever seen. Thank you for your persistence and perseverance. For those of you in administration finishing your administrative credential program, congratulations. I look forward to seeing you as leaders in our schools and districts over the next couple of years. Thanks so much to all of you for choosing this as a profession. It's a very rewarding one, and I know that not only will you bring energy and passion to the job, but you will change children's lives. Congratulations. We'll see you around campuses.
Hi everybody, my name is Rhonda Sullivan. I'm Director of Food Service for the Dos Palace Orloma Joint Unified School District. I've been in my position for 6 years, but I've worked at the school district for 27 years. And I'd like to share a few things with you. To start, congratulations as you enter the new chapter of your educational careers. There's just a few things that I would like to share with you that I've found very helpful in my years as an admin. And I know you've heard this 1,000 times. Communication. Communication is key to success for every department. As you enter into admin, you have to know that you need to communicate with all departments, not just your staff, but your director of food service, your director of maintenance, transportation, custodial. Everybody plays a part in the success of our students. So make sure that you communicate with everybody. I'm going to give you a few examples. Let's say you're going on a field trip, but you haven't talked to the director of food service or the director of transportation. Your field trip gets to be here. What happens when you don't have any bag lunches and you don't have busing to get your students there? Now you've had to cancel your field trip and the students are going to be upset. So always communicate. It's a big deal. We only have 6 sites in our little town of Dos Palace, but I communicate with every principal because I have staff on each one of those sites. So my staff is also their staff. So to make sure that we're fulfilling everybody's needs, communication is number 1. You also need to talk to your staff and students because the communities that these people live in may not be the community that you came from. I'm a lifer to Dos Palace, which means that my parents graduated Dos Palace, my siblings have graduated Dos Palace, my sons have graduated Dos Palace, and now my grandkids are in the Dos Palace School District. I've been lucky. I know the community. So I know the diversities that we have. If you are not from the community, please go out and ask questions. Questions are key to knowing what these students actually are going to need. You may ask one staff member that's from the area. Ask several people. Everybody has a different perception of the community that you live in. And we're all here to make sure that we can fulfill the needs of the students. And without knowing the community and the atmosphere that they come from, you're not able to fulfill those needs in a proper way for the students to be successful. And that's what we're here for. The other thing with talking to the community, you don't know what the needs are. There might be needs that you're unaware of. But unless you go out and talk to maybe vendors in your area, businesses in your area, to find out what they think about the community and what the students might need. Getting to know your staff is key. Sometimes we have problems in our lives. If you don't know the problems in your life, the lives of your staff and students, you're not going to be able to help fulfill their needs. So you need to get to know your staff, your students. Everyone is important. Another thing with communication is if you don't know the answer to a question, don't just assume that you're going to answer it yourself. Ask other admin, ask the person who held the position before you. Ask questions. There are no dumb questions. There's only questions that we get answers to. And you have to remember that because a lot of people will feel, oh, this is a dumb question, I don't want to ask it. But once you start assuming something, that will be completely the wrong way to go. And your assumption may be completely wrong, which will get you into trouble. So ask questions. My second thing goes right along with communication, is listening. Everybody can listen to you, but you really have to hear what people are saying. If you're not listening to what they're actually saying and hearing them, you can never solve a problem. For example, we had a student that was in 2nd grade. Now this happened to me, so I can honestly say, we had a student that came in. I was in the cafeteria. He ate all of his first plate. Asked him if he was still hungry. Yes, he was. So I bought him a second lunch, that is. And then we got to become friends. As we became friends, he started telling me about his home life. Come to find out, his home life was a lot worse than what anybody had thought. He came in one day and had told me some things that had happened the night before. We got a hold of the authorities. Luckily for him, he was taken into foster care. The foster care parent adopted him I don't know where he's at now because they did move, but luckily I listened to that child's needs. I befriended that child, and I don't know, could have possibly saved his life, because what he was going through at home was probably one of the worst things I have ever heard in my life. So to listen, honestly listen, and pay attention to what your staff, your students, parents, there's a lot of reasons to listen and not just hear people. Another thing that you have to listen for is the tone. We're all wearing masks now, so listen for tones and watch for facial features. Some people will tell you, oh, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong. You can see it in someone's eyes when there's some difficulties that they're having in their personal life, or maybe it's their school life. They just need somebody to vent to. Be that person that they can vent to. As an administrator, you're not just an administrator. You're a doctor, you're a counselor, you're a little bit of everything. You take on many different roles in administrations. So don't think that you're just going to walk in and that's your job, is to make sure that your school runs smoothly, because it's not. A lot goes into administration. You also need to be in the community to hear their needs, because community and schools work hand in hand together. There's not just, oh, well, this is my school and the community doesn't matter, because they do matter. Your students are in this community. So if you're in a gang-ridden community, you need to know that your students are coming from these homes and might need a little extra support. Or if you're coming from a community that's complete poverty, your students might need a little bit more support. Dos Palace is a poverty area, so we know that our students are needing a lot of support in the areas. We know that there's a lot of drugs that go through Dos Palace. So we support our students the best that we can every day, and that's all that we can do. I'd like to share a few things that I always tell my staff, because you never know who we have in our school districts. The first one is, you might be feeding the next president, or a future president, I should say. I guess not the next, but you might be feeding a president. So make sure that every day that you do what you do the best, because you don't want the president to go to the White House and say, oh, my school didn't do this for me. You want to say, my schools did this for me. And you always hear about the presidents talking about the schools that they've came from. The second thing is, always remember, life is like a roller coaster. You have your ups and you have your downs. There's going to be harder days than others. But remember that the roller coaster always goes down, but they always come back up. And that is a very true statement, and I tell my staff that daily. And the third thing is, keep a smile on your face. I do know that we're wearing masks, but you can also smile with your eyes. Some of our students, that might be the only smile that they get in a day. Or our staff might be having a bad day, and that's the smile that they need to make them get through that day. A smile goes a long way, or a good morning, or just a little confirmation that you know that they're there. That's the important parts of life. As you go on this next journey, I can wish you all the best. Again, I'm from Dos Palace. If you ever need to reach out to me, I know I'm a director of food service, but I've been in the school district for 27 years, and I'm willing to help anybody at any time. Please don't hesitate to call me, and congratulations again. The motto in Dos Palace is all in for DPOL. Today the motto is all in for the students of Merced County. Thank you.